Gurmagatasha agus Gurmfolcha freshen riv Gilan Waba Abdal Majid. You're very welcome, Madam Ambassador, and we're honoured to have you here. Today we stand with the Gazan people who face annihilation. Entire families have been wiped out. Millions displaced from their homes, their schools, hospitals obliterated. And they are now starving and blockaded on all sides. 14,000 children are on the brink of starvation. 11 weeks of a blockade of food, a blockade of water, and a blockade on medicines. More than 500 killed in a matter of days. Humanitarian aid used as a weapon of war. Collective punishment again against the Palestinian people. The siege is continuing. Not an ounce of food, not a drop of water has been distributed. The bombardment and killing is continuing as the air and ground offensives intensify. The mass displacement of the people of Gaza is continuing. And all of this carried out in full sight of the world, in full sight of international leaders. They see the carnage, the collective punishment, the starvation, the mass displacement, all breaches of international law. They have long known that Israel, an occupying power, imposes an apartheid regime. All of this suffering, Israel is responsible, and Israel must be held to account. Their actions are not simply wrong, Taoiseach. Their actions are not simply wrong. They are criminal. They are genocidal. And Israel continues to act with impunity because very simply they can. Major Western powers are not alone turning a blind eye. They are protecting Israel from any meaningful sanctions, and they are continuing to fund and sell arms to Israel. They are complicit in every single thing that is happening. The EU now reviews its trade agreement with Israel. Britain has suspended trade talks with Israel. Very little and very, very late. We need much more. We need action. We need sanctions. We need an end to the arming and funding of Israel's war machine. Today, my colleague and First Minister in the North, Michelle O'Neill, has written to the British Prime Minister demanding Britain end the export of arms to Israel. The British government has a legal and a moral obligation to stop arming Israel when there is a clear and obvious risk that these weapons are used to slaughter Palestinian children. And that obligation applies to the United States of America and to European powers that are funding and generating a genocide. Stop it. Stop that now. And Ireland also needs to act, because words are not enough. Neither weasel words nor carefully crafted platitudes as a refugee population is being decimated. Calls for restraint won't cut it either. Action is needed. Sanctions are needed. Today, Piers Doherty and I have brought forward legislation to stop Ireland's involvement in the sale of Israeli war bonds. Bonds that are used to fund the genocide in Palestine. And it's going to be debated in the Dáil next week. It's utterly unacceptable. It's an obscenity, in fact, that the Irish Central Bank oversees the sale of Israeli war bonds right across the EU. It's something that is completely at odds with Ireland's position in respect of humanitarian standards, international law, a position against occupation, against terror and against genocide. And yet when I raised this with the Taoiseach yesterday, his response was to call our legislation repulsive. That's the word he used. What is truly repulsive is allowing the Irish Central Bank to oversee the sale of Israeli war bonds that are funding this genocide. So the government, if you are serious, if you are sincere, then you will back our bill and stand with Palestine. If you are really serious, Taoiseach, about recognising and respecting the convictions of the people of Ireland. If you are serious about doing everything, as you say, within your reach, if you are serious about ending the clear barbarism that we watch every day in Gaza and indeed in the West Bank, then you will back our bill. And of course you will also pass the Occupied Territories Bill. Ireland's history speaks powerfully to us, and it demands that we speak out. It demands that we act in defence of Palestine, in defence of refugee populations that have been brutalised, not for weeks, not for months, for decades. And that barbarity has now escalated to genocide itself. The Irish Central Bank should not be, cannot be, facilitating that genocide through the sale of Israeli war bonds. And I challenge every member of this House, every person of conscience, to stand with the Palestinians and against genocide, and to back our legislation when it comes to the House next week.